Tzu Chi volunteers give vegetarian lunchboxes and clothing to the homeless in Hong Kong. Progeria causes people to age faster than others, leading to disparity in social services. I'm Sean Scanlan. This is DaAi Headlines. Let's get started. The COVID epidemic in Hong Kong is worsening, with Tzu Chi volunteers caring for the homeless by sending vegetarian meal boxes and warm clothing so that the homeless could pass this cold winter.
因為突然間咧天氣寒冷，咁我哋咧今日嚟到呢度咧，亦都帶到熱騰騰嘅甜湯啦，同埋毛氈，咁亦都咧同你做一個補茶，希望咧佢哋喺一個寒冷嘅天氣裏邊咧，都能夠得到呢個溫暖嘅感覺。
Under the pandemic, Hong Kong has lost its magnificence. After nightfall, apart from the public transport, there are some homeless people shivering on the cardboard along the street.
I think no one else would chat with me like you do now, especially when the street is busy with many passerby. People would leave immediately.
Tzu Chi volunteers could understand the feeling of the homeless, as they have cared for the homeless regularly before the epidemic broke out. Now, this care should definitely be continued.
When the fast food restaurants were still opening 24 hours a day, you have provided us with meal boxes and cakes. Back then, when we get to know your organization, we were thinking how come there are still people who cared about it.
This time, volunteers not only delivered vegetarian meal boxes and red bean soup to the homeless, but also asked if they need any warm clothing, so that the homeless can survive the cold winter well before the new year.
It's getting cold. These volunteers are preparing to provide some warm clothing for me to pass a warm winter.
Volunteers expressed their care to the homeless individuals sleeping on the street bench. Although the homeless may not wear warm enough, their hearts were filled with warmth and love.
In Medan, Indonesia, in early December, flood devastated a village, damaging hundreds of houses. The military immediately carried out disaster relief work, bringing affected residents to the shelters and patrolling the village. Medan Tzu Chi volunteers also distributed aid supplies and helped clean up a flooded school. Here's more.
Traveling on a muddy road, one can see that this village, which was devastated by flood, is full of debris. In the aftermath of the flood, there's still danger. Indonesian military has come here to help the affected residents. Medan Tzu Chi volunteers have also prepared aid supplies.
Sebelumnya kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas bantuan dari Medan Tzu Chi karena bantuan tersebut sangat.
We're grateful for Tzu Chi's assistance, which is helpful for us, because the soldiers can now focus on watching the river's water level and check to see if the affected residents are going home. So we need raincoats and flashlights for the soldiers to carry out their missions.
Tanpa sepengetahuan kita, sehingga kami sangat membutuhkan seperti jas hujan dan senter untuk mengamati atau memonitor perkembangan situasi yang ada di sana.
Although the residents at the shelter feel uneasy, they still want to go home. Their task is to clean up their homes. They do not need to worry about getting mops, buckets, mats, and sanitation products.
Kemudian ini kita ada bantuan yang di.
After distributing aid supplies to the villagers, we are also preparing aid supplies, including mattresses and blankets, for the affected residents trapped in the bomb shelter.
Sehari-hari ya, seperti tikar, selimut, seperti yang kemarin. Jadi kita lanjutkan bantuan ini.
The flood has also devastated a school in Delhi Toa. The computer room, library, classrooms, and soccer field need to be cleaned up.
Kami selaku dari Yayasan Sekolah Putra Bangsa Berbudi mengucapkan banyak terima kasih.
Being the school representative, I'm very grateful to Medan Tzu Chi volunteers. The volunteers have helped clean different parts in the school, helping the school restore its normal operation.
Membantu membersihkan sekolah kita ini. Semoga ya sekolah ini dapat dibersihkan dengan secepatnya.
The school has a good relationship with Tzu Chi for many years, that there's a recycling point. The volunteers have helped the school restore its normal operation so that the students can resume their studies soon.
Typhoon Goni has devastated parts of the Philippines. In the aftermath, Tzu Chi volunteers initiated a work for relief program and consolation cash. Tzu Chi volunteer Ada is also an affected resident who donated her consolation cash, hoping to help other less fortunate people. Take a look.
They have carried the big posters to the distribution site. In front of the camera, they want to show the world their messages.
I have truly felt your care. You do not just talk about it, but you take concrete actions.
In the aftermath of typhoon, Tzu Chi has initiated a work relief program cleaning up the streets. They've also given out consolation cash to more than 45,000 families.
Saka matutulungan ko yung kapatid ko sa Bicol.
Magkakaroon po uli ako ng puhunan.
Tapos yung iba, pambili ng, katulad yan nasira na miyero, papalitan.
As an affected resident, Ida understands how Tzu Chi has helped everyone. In the disaster, the only clothes she took with her was her blue and white uniform because this is her mission. She decided to donate her consolation cash.
I want to leave the help to some other people in need. I am glad that my friends and neighbors have gotten help to rebuild their homes.
Tima nurse Rowana has left home at 4 o'clock in the morning because she does not want to have regrets.
What I can do is to give my time and provide sincere encouragements.
Both the helpers and aid recipients have felt love in their hearts.
Being by their side and being with them during times of disaster or happy moments, I am very grateful.
Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter is sewing PPEs to help frontline healthcare workers and others who are in need of it. Among the volunteers is a cancer survivor who does the sewing at home. Here's more.
Being able to help sew PPEs for healthcare workers, Cham Hoing Wee, is one step closer to her wish. She joined volunteer training in the past, but she didn't complete the course.
I started volunteering training in 2014, but I couldn't go to the last class. My husband fell ill and I stopped it going.
Cham gave up on her certification to take care of her husband and was then challenged with another hurdle.
In 2015, I was diagnosed with gastrointestinal cancer.
Having been through 8 chemo treatments, Cham's health is now fragile. She plants vegetables in her garden to look after herself and also shares her harvests with her neighbors.
I like to help people, so when I have time and I can do it, I will be a volunteer at the Buddha ceremonies or Dharma gatherings. It doesn't matter, I will go.
Though currently she's unable to leave her home to volunteer, her heart of giving is still very much in full force.
We had asked if she can share her gray uniform for the next session of volunteers. She replied she wanted to keep it as she hopes to still be able to wear it once she is strong enough to go out to do Tzu Chi with us.
Mental illnesses like progeria can cause individuals to age faster than healthy individuals, causing them to act like the elderly, even though they may only be 40 years old. Currently, the law does not address this, as it can be a financial strain for families that are not well off.
Ray, who has been in bed for a long time, has smooth skin and no bed sores on his body because he receives good care, which is very different from when he was first discovered.
His mom and dad can't take care of him because they're also very old. When I found him, he was in the pigsty, and there was some stool on the floor and on his body, and he didn't wear any clothes, so I wrapped him up with a piece of cloth and brought him here.
With humanitarian assistance and social welfare resettlement, Ray can finally spend his twilight years in peace. But not all progeria patients abandoned by the families are so lucky, because once elderly parents are unable to take care of them, there are no other relatives to help, making them fend for themselves.
The social safety net is not well integrated because the sources of funding come from different units and the services to be rendered are different.
Acho, who was born in the same year as Are, is also a severely mentally disabled person, but the difference is that Acho's mother spent her whole life working hard and never abandoned her daughter.
I can't sleep. That's why I'm so thin. I feel good if I can have 3 hours of sleep.
This mother's troubles were compounded after the father became exhausted and suffered a stroke. This meant she couldn't sleep all night, and she was overwhelmed by the burden of caring for her family's disabilities.
Maybe for these old parents, they have provided care for more than 50 years, and the psychological pressure is very heavy.
Under the Long-Term Care Act 2.0, if there are 2 elders in one family looking after progeria patients, they can be sent for daycare. So the burden of caring for them in the late afternoon next morning is still on the parents.
I really worry about her, so we decided to send her to Zhengshanmei, which put us more at ease.
Parents can't bear the pressure of caring for progeria patients and hope to send them to care institutions. But they have to face 3 major difficulties. The first is a serious shortage of beds for progeria patients in Taiwan. The second is that parents are reluctant to be separated from their young children, so they can only grit their teeth and take care of them personally. Finally, the long-term care costs may be beyond their financial means.
Financially, I can't pay so much money for her care.
For patients with severe intellectual disabilities associated with progeria, if they're admitted to residential institutions, an average family has to pay $600, while low-income family household is fully subsidized by the government, but lower and middle-income households still have to pay between $500 and $150 a month.
At present, the part of Long-Term Care Act 2.0 for progeria patients with intellectual disability isn't applicable. For those with progeria, only mental handicapped can get subsidies.
At the moment of the interview, next-door neighbor Along comes to visit Acho. He's suffering from cerebral palsy and Acho's childhood sweetheart. Recently, he proposed that the two go to a progeria social welfare home together.
I visited the Progeria institution before. It was not bad. I've brought an electric wheelchair and I want to ride by myself.
Along is very clear in his mind, whether it pertains to himself or Acho. They know they are a burden on both parents because progeria patients get old fast. Along, who looks older than 60, is only 45 years old.
If progeria patients are less than 65 years old, they're basically cut off because the government treats this group the same way as the aging of normal people.
According to the law, citizens over 65 years old are considered old people, but indigenous people over 55 years old are considered elderly. The problem is that for those with progeria at the age of 30 to 40, according to the current law, they still have to be over 65 to be considered elderly.
Basically, many of those with progeria who are over 65 may not be alive.
Acho has a warm family, but this family will eventually end. Without the ability to take care of herself, can she be as lucky as Are in the future and be placed in a good institution? Progeria patients are not in control of their own happiness and need government and community's assistance and care.
In Lianchang County, China, Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for a 60-year-old solitary senior for more than a year. After the death of her husband, her physical condition worsened and her home has not been cleaned for many years. Volunteers mobilized to clean her home and repair the leaking roof, wishing her a good new year. Take a look.
They saw it, but many people choose to ignore it. A solitary senior, Zhang Aiqing, has become disparate since she lost her husband, and her daughter rarely goes home after getting married.
This is her toilet. She tied the toilet with a rope.
She has difficulty moving. Next to the bed is a plastic chair with a hole that serves as a back pain. This is her home. The nurse, Choliana, not only move heavy objects, but also clean the dirtiest toilet.
We're just talking to her, maybe it won't work. Only we go ahead and do it. If this place has a fragrance, it will naturally attract people. When this place is dirty and messy, people will stay away from it. I hope that through our efforts, we can create this environment for her, and hope that the neighbors will also be willing to extend their love because of our help.
She looked forward to her daughters coming home and cried all day long. Now that the volunteers are here, it's fine. She's looking forward to your visits now. She said Tzu Chi will come to help me with hygiene and will give me food and supplies. A few days ago, Tzu Chi gave her the Siemens mattress. None of her relatives are so nice.
She was crawling on the ground, relying on a chair. If it rains and the ground is full of water, how about her feet? We feel cold in our shoes now, so if it gets colder in the winter, her feet will be colder for sure. There are marks of water. The water flowed and then pressed here. This has reached our heads. We will handle this matter before the rainy season.
The ceiling was removed. A simple drain pipe was installed, and the waterproof covers was added to collect the rainwater to flow it outside.
We also got help from our Tzu Chi volunteers in the past. Isn't this more meaningful than making money? Money is never enough.
After the home is renovated and cleaned, Grandma also feels refreshed. This lonely senior is now being cared by many people. The home turns from ruins to comfort, and the heart turns from cold to warm. This family in alley of Liancheng, Fujian, has found love because of Tzu Chi.
In Taichung, 86-year-old Afen is someone that the community knows well, and she always picks up recyclables or old clothing off the street. The first floor of her home is filled with all the treasure she collected, and she moved to the second floor to sleep. The second floor of her home often leaks as Tzu Chi helped provide her with a more comfortable living environment. Let's take a look at her story.
If you remove the items she collected, she will get mad at you and yell or hit.
Her room was filled, so I said, why don't you go to sleep on the second floor then? Otherwise, if you move her collected items, she'll get angry. When it rains, the roof leaks and is collapsing. The second floor is badly damaged, and the leakage is very severe. She uses buckets to catch the raindrops. We decided to work with the borough head to help the grandmother and fix her home.
阿芬很喜欢我，因为我是他最好的玩伴。咱们来坐车哦，来去佚佗吼。
这个床变成一个置物柜啊，回收的东西啊哈，这些回收物。开下去了，没有办法使用了。
Normally, the items she placed in the bedside storage areas are her most valuable items, such as recyclables and other things you can't imagine.
哦，这唱不到水了，这唱半台车。这个房间可以做成。
It wasn't easy turning this room into a garbage collection site.
后边拢搞掉去啊，拢浮掉去啊。这拢去敲断个衫啊，这嫌这倒数就袂用诶，手毛搞掉，我迄顶啊，迄对啊，拢120几顶啊是啊。哇，拢搞掉。好了，基本上就剩下柜子。哦，哎呦，哦呦。 重点就是把屋瓦。The most important thing right now is to remove the roof tiles and then waterproof the roof. Then we will repave the tiles. In our dictionary, there's no such word as leaks.
志工主要能协助的是什么？
They can replace a crane. If I want to reach the roof of this place, I'll need a crane, but I can't drive one near. So what is there to do? But replace the crane with people.
比较重哦。
要立马少2寸，减肥1公斤1万啦，腰马上少了2寸啦。
大家都希望能够跟阿嬷结个缘。
Everyone hopes to form good affinity with the senior as we all know her. The way she walks as she hunches is very memorable to all of us. I really want to change her home for the better. That's the main goal, isn't it? Just thinking about how she sleeps at night when it rains upsets me. After we have repaired it, she'll be able to get a good night's rest, enjoying her health and live with happiness in her heart.
No, she hasn't been upset with us. I think she knows we're helping her and she has agreed to the help.
吹到虾米？吹到钱啊！来，快点剪开。
哦，千超
哦，因为它的钱就是这样子藏起来的，它把它缝到衣服里面啊。
一块饼6岁吧，哇，对吧？哇，这碎了哈，谢谢，谢谢，哈，阿文赞，哎呦。
The Taichung Mingchuan Liaison Office held a community year-end blessing ceremony with many vowing to change to a vegetarian diet. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.